My girlfriend cheated with my best friend at his gym for over 1 year. When I discovered the 4 hours in his private room, I confronted them both. But anonymous evidence revealed he destroyed 5 more relationships, and I publicly exposed him, ending his career. I'm 27 years old. I work in finance for a pretty big firm downtown, and I come from a family with money. Like, I'm not a millionaire, but I'm not struggling either. You know what I mean? And I need to tell this story, because what happened to me a few months ago basically destroyed my trust in the people closest to me. And honestly, I'm still processing everything. I guess I should start at the beginning, when I met Brooke about 2.5 years ago. I used to go every day to this coffee shop that's a block from my office, you know, that routine of getting coffee before going into work. And there was this girl who was always there, Brooke, a 4-year-old barista who was studying marketing at university. She was cute, like really friendly, always greeted me with a smile, and little by little we started talking beyond the typical "I want a large latte." It took about 3 months of these casual conversations until I finally worked up the courage to ask for her number. She said, yes, immediately, which surprised me because I'm not the type of person who does these things normally. I'm more reserved, let's say. We started dating and everything was, I don't know, perfect, I guess. She was very affectionate, always wanted to spend time with me. She introduced me to her friends. I met her family. The typical, serious, and committed relationship. My parents adored her because she was polite and ambitious with her studies, and then I introduced her to my best friend since high school, Logan. He was 26 years old at that time, worked as a personal trainer at a pretty exclusive gym in the area, and we were practically brothers. Like, we'd known each other since we were about 14 years old. We'd been through everything together, or so I thought. Logan was always that charismatic type of person, you know? Tall, in shape obviously because he was a trainer, always knew what to say to make people like him. He had a girlfriend too, Caroline, a super sweet girl who worked in human resources at another company. The 4 of us would hang out together, we'd have dinners, go to movies, we were like a solid group. Brooke and Logan got along well from the start, which seemed great to me, because I wanted my worlds to connect, you know, for my girlfriend and my best friend to be friends too. After about 6 months of dating, Brooke told me she wanted to start going to the gym because she was stressed with school and work, and that exercise would help her. I suggested Logan's gym because he could give her a good price on memberships and training sessions, and plus I thought it would be convenient because I trusted him completely. She started going about 3 times a week, and Logan designed her a personalized routine without charging her much, like, he was basically doing me a favor. At first, everything seemed normal. Brooke would come home after the gym, tell me about her workouts, seemed happier and more energetic. But after about 2 months, I started noticing weird things. Small things that separately meant nothing. But when you put them together, you start wondering what's going on. For example, her phone. Before she would leave her phone around, no problem. But suddenly she started taking it to the bathroom, to the kitchen, everywhere. And if I got close when she was texting, she'd quickly turn the screen or lock it. Once, I asked her, "Hey, is everything okay with your phone?" And she said, "Yeah, sure, why do you ask?" And I said, "I don't know. It seems like lately you're very protective of it." She laughed and said, I was being paranoid, that she just had a lot of notifications from school and work and didn't want them to distract her. I guess it made sense, so I let it go. But then there were the gym sessions that kept getting longer and longer. At first, she'd go for like an hour, hour and a half max. Then she started coming home at 9, 10 at night, saying that Logan was teaching her new techniques or that she was staying to use the sauna or talking with other girls from the gym. And I was like, okay, it's fine for her to have her time and her activities. I don't want to be that controlling and jealous boyfriend. My friends from work told me it was good to give her space, that it was healthy for her to have her own things. What did start to bother me was that every time I mentioned plans for the 2 of us, she said she couldn't because she had gym. One Friday I said, "Hey, do you want to go to dinner at that Italian restaurant you like?" One Saturday I suggested going to the movies and she said, "It's just that I promised to go to the gym early because Logan is going to be there, supervising some new exercises." I started to feel like the gym, or more specifically, Logan, was becoming a bigger priority than me. But every time I mentioned it, she said I was exaggerating, that she was just trying to improve her health. And here comes the part that should have made me react sooner. Brooke started mentioning Logan constantly. Logan says this. Logan thinks that. Logan recommended this supplement to me. At first I thought, well, he's her trainer, it makes sense she talks about him. But it got to a point where we literally couldn't have a conversation without her mentioning Logan like 5 times. And when I made any comment or suggestion about anything, from what to eat to how to handle a situation at school, she basically dismissed my opinion and said something like, well, Logan told me the best way is this other way. Caroline, Logan's girlfriend, also started making comments. One day, when the 4 of us went out to dinner, she mentioned that Logan had been coming home late because supposedly he had clients until late. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, clearly she was already suspecting something. Logan was really good at lying, like he had an answer for everything, always super calm and convincing. Things came to a critical point one day when I left the office early. It was like 4 inches the afternoon. I decided to stop by that same coffee shop where Brooke worked because I wanted to surprise her and maybe take her to get a snack or something. I walked in, and she was there with 2 of her work friends at a table in the back. I was going to approach, but then I heard part of their conversation, and something made me stop. I'm not proud of staying and listening, but I did. One of her friends asked her how things were going with me, and Brooke said, and I quote this exactly because it was burned into my brain, he's super boring, to be honest. Like, he's nice and has money and everything, but there's no spark, you know what I mean? He's very predictable, very safe. And her friend said something like, then why are you still with him? And Brooke laughed and said, because he's stable, he has a good job, my family loves him. He's like the complete package on paper. But Logan, oh, God, Logan is different. With him I do feel that passion, that adrenaline, that, I don't know, that danger I need. I stood there like an idiot, feeling like the floor was opening up beneath me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I wanted to go in and confront her right there, but honestly I couldn't even move. I left the coffee shop and walked like a zombie back to my apartment. The whole time I was thinking, is this real? Did I just hear my girlfriend say she's with me out of convenience while she has something with my best friend? When she got home that night, after another long gym session, I confronted her. I told her, I was at the coffee shop today. I heard what you said about me and about Logan. She turned white. Literally all the blood drained from her face. She started stammering, saying that I had misunderstood, that she was just joking with her friends, that obviously she was exaggerating things to entertain them, that she didn't mean anything, she said. I told her, okay, if it's nothing, let me see your messages with Logan. And that's when she exploded. She told me I had no right to check her phone, that if I didn't trust her, then we had nothing, that I was being controlling and toxic, all that rhetoric people use when they're trying to flip the situation. I told her, I'm not being controlling. I just want to see if there's something between you two, because you just admitted you feel passion for him. She kept refusing, saying it was her privacy, that there were messages from other people that weren't my business, basically flatly refusing. I didn't sleep at all that night. She went to the guest room, and I stayed in the living room, thinking about everything. The next day, I went straight to Logan's gym. He was with a client, but when he saw me arrive with that face, I think he knew something was up. He told me, give me 5 minutes, and asked his client to rest. We went to his private office and I told him everything. What I had heard, Brooke's reaction, everything. Logan looked surprised, like genuinely confused. He told me, brother, I don't know what you're talking about. Brooke and I are just friends. She's my client, and your girlfriend. I would never cross that line with you. He told me that Brooke was probably trying to impress her friends by saying things that weren't true, that women do that sometimes. That he loved Caroline and that I was his best friend, that he would never do something like that to me. He was so convincing that I started to doubt myself, like maybe I really was exaggerating everything, maybe I was being paranoid. Caroline was there too. She had come to pick up Logan for lunch, and she heard everything. She told me that Logan always came home, that she had never noticed anything weird, that I should talk to Brooke calmly and work things out. Both of them made me feel like I was the crazy one, the insecure boyfriend who was inventing problems where there weren't any. I went back home feeling confused and guilty. Brooke was there, waiting for me with flowers and a prepared dinner. She apologized for what she said at the coffee shop, told me she was stressed with school, and that sometimes she says things without thinking. That obviously I was important to her, and that she loved me. She basically love-bombed me, you know? For the next 2 weeks, she was the perfect girlfriend. Extra affectionate, extra attentive, left her phone around like before, suggested plans for us. I wanted to believe everything was fine, that it had just been a bad moment. But then I got a message from an unknown number. It was Kristen, one of Brooke's co-workers from the coffee shop, a girl I had always liked. The message said, "Sorry to get involved in this, but you need to see something." And she sent me screenshots of the shared calendar they used at the coffee shop to coordinate shifts. On Brooke's calendar, she had blocked several time slots, marked as busy or unavailable that coincided exactly with her supposed gym sessions. But the weird thing was that some of those time slots were marked at 10, 11 at night, when the gym was already closed. I messaged Kristen asking her how she had gotten that and why she was showing it to me. She told me she had noticed that Brooke was lying about her schedule, that she had heard suspicious conversations, and that although she didn't want to cause drama, she felt I deserved to know the truth. She told me that Brooke had been canceling shifts, claiming emergencies or school commitments, but then Kristen would see her posting Instagram stories from the gym or from random places with locations that didn't match what she had said. With this information, I went to the gym. I needed answers. I talked to Eric, another trainer who worked there and who had always been honest with me. I asked him directly if he had noticed anything weird between Brooke and Logan. Eric got uncomfortable and at first didn't want to say anything, but finally admitted that yes, he had seen Brooke at the gym after closing time several times, and that Logan had told him she had a special key because she was in an advanced training program that required extended access. That didn't make any sense. Why would my girlfriend need to be at the gym at 11 at night for advanced training? I asked Eric if I could check the security cameras. He told me that technically he couldn't because it violated client privacy, but that if I had serious suspicions of something improper, he could review the footage and confirm or deny without showing me directly. 2 horrible days went by where I didn't know what to think. Brooke kept acting normal, going to the gym, coming home late, making excuses. I could barely look at her without feeling like my head was going to explode. Then Eric sent me a message saying we needed to talk. We met at a cafe far from the gym, and he showed me his phone with videos he had recorded from the security cameras. The videos showed Brooke entering Logan's private training room, the one he used for VIP clients, at 9, 10, 11 at night, and she didn't come out until hours later. In one of the videos, which was from the previous Friday, she entered at 9:30 p.m. and didn't come out until 1:30 a.m., 4 hours. 4 damn hours locked in a private room with my best friend while I was at home thinking she was doing cardio or using the sauna. I asked Eric what was in that room, and he told me it had training equipment. Yes, but also a big couch, a private bathroom. Basically, it was like a small apartment inside the gym. Logan supposedly used it to rest between long sessions, but it was clear what he was really using it for. I didn't confront Brooke immediately. I needed more evidence, something definitive. I messaged Logan with an excuse that I needed to talk about something gym-related, and we arranged to meet. When I got there, I told him directly, "I know Brooke has been coming to the gym after it closes. I know she's been in your private room for hours. What's going on?" He got nervous for the first time since I'd known him. He tried to make up something about extended physical therapy sessions, that Brooke had an injury that required special treatment, that he hadn't told me because he didn't want to worry me. I told him, "Show me the medical records then. Show me the documentation of this supposed injury and treatment." He couldn't. He just stood there babbling increasingly ridiculous excuses. I told him, "You know what? I don't care what you say anymore. I know exactly what's happening, and this friendship is over." I blocked his number right there and left. I got home and Brooke was getting ready to go to the gym again. I told her, "You're not going to the gym today. We're going to talk now." She asked about what, and I showed her the screenshots Kristen had sent me, told her about the security cameras, about the 4 hours in Logan's private room. She cried, literally threw herself on the floor crying, saying she was sorry, that it had been a mistake, that Logan had manipulated her, that she loved me and had never wanted to hurt me. I told her to leave my apartment. She begged me not to leave her, that we could go to couples therapy, that she would cut all contact with Logan, that she would do whatever. I told her no, that it was too late, that trust was completely destroyed, and that I couldn't even look at her without feeling disgusted. I gave her 24 hours to get her stuff out and told her that if she didn't, I was going to throw everything in the trash. I blocked her number, blocked Logan, blocked all their mutual friends. The next few days were horrible. My parents were devastated because they loved Brooke. My friends from work couldn't believe what had happened. Caroline sent me like 20 messages asking what had happened because Logan had told her a completely different version, that I had gone crazy with jealousy for no reason. I didn't respond to her because honestly, I didn't have the energy to explain everything. Then I got an email from an anonymous address. The email had an attached document with screenshots of conversations between Logan and other women, including explicit messages with Brooke dating back over a year. The email said, "Logan is a serial manipulator. He's done this with several of his friends' girlfriends. I was one of his victims 2 years ago. I thought you should know everything." The document had dates, names, evidence of at least 5 different women Logan had had affairs with while he was with Caroline, and specifically showed that he had been planning to get with Brooke from the day I introduced them. There were messages where he told Brooke that I was boring and that she deserved someone more exciting like him. Messages where they planned their meetings at the gym. Messages where they made fun of me, calling me the financial boyfriend because supposedly I only served to pay the bills. It was brutal reading all that. One of Logan's messages said literally, "The trick is to make him feel paranoid and then gaslight them so they think they're crazy. It works every time." I forwarded everything to Caroline. Every screenshot, every conversation, every piece of evidence. I wrote her a long message explaining that Logan had been cheating on her, not just with me and Brooke, but with multiple women for years, and that she deserved to know the truth. I didn't expect a response, but she called me like 2 hours later crying, saying she had confronted Logan with everything and that he had finally admitted everything, that she was ending it with him immediately and that she was so sorry for me. Here's where things got interesting in terms of justice. Caroline decided not to stay silent. She had access to the gym's social media because she sometimes helped Logan with his marketing. She posted all the evidence on the gym's Instagram page, exposed everything publicly, every message, every video, every woman, everything. The post went viral in our city. The gym where Logan worked lost like 40% of its clients in a week. Logan lost his personal trainer license because several of the women filed formal complaints that he had abused his position as a trainer to manipulate them. He got banned from practically every gym in the area. Brooke sent me like 100 messages from different numbers because I had her blocked, begging me to talk to Caroline to take down the posts because she was being socially destroyed. Turns out Logan had never been serious with her. He had told her he would leave Caroline for her but was never going to. Basically, he had used her and she was just realizing it. She had a public breakdown at the coffee shop where she worked, yelling at her coworkers about why no one had stopped her, why they had let her ruin her life. Kristen told me all about that later. The craziest thing was that after everything came to light, like 3 more people contacted me saying Logan had done the same thing to them, that he had seduced their girlfriends or wives while pretending to be their best friend. One guy told me that Logan had destroyed his 4-year marriage with exactly the same tactic, gaining his wife's trust as her trainer and then manipulating her to think her husband was boring and she deserved more. That pattern, exactly the same, repeated with multiple people over years. It's been about 6 months since everything exploded. Caroline and I started talking more after all this, like we gave each other mutual support because we were the only 2 people who really understood what we had been through. We went out for coffee a few times just as friends, but I'm not gonna lie, there's something there, a connection that goes beyond just shared experiences. We haven't defined anything officially because we both want to take things slow and heal first, but the truth is, she's amazing, way more real and honest than Brooke ever was. Logan now works at a protein supplement store making minimum wage. His career as a trainer is basically destroyed, and he has a bad reputation all over the city. Brooke moved to another city because she couldn't stand the looks and comments everywhere. Her family contacted me to apologize for her, which was weird, but appreciated, I guess. Last week, Caroline and I went on vacation to Hawaii. Just the two of us. No pressure or labels. We were on the beach watching the sunset, and she told me, "You know what's ironic about all this? If Logan and Brooke hadn't been so horrible, we never would have given ourselves this chance." And she's right. Like it's twisted, but somehow their betrayal led us to really find each other. I don't know what's going to happen with Caroline and me, if we're going to be an official couple or what, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful about the future. And that has to mean something.